In Northern Europe, there is a sea that looks strangely peaceful. But for more than 1,000 years, this place has never truly belonged to anyone. Everyone wants to control the Baltic Sea, not because of its waves, but because of the trade routes and natural resources that have enriched all of Northern Europe. From here, fleets of Viking ships once cut through the waves to expand their world. Then merchants, kingdoms, and empires successively built navies, raised fortresses, and launched wars to seize control of this sea. There was a time when nearly the entire Baltic Sea was under the rule of one empire, but every empire eventually disappears. The Baltic Sea, however, remains. Its waters as calm as ever, yet beneath the surface lie traces of the wars that shaped all of Northern Europe. And it was here that the centuries-long struggle began. By the beginning of the 18th century, that struggle had reached its peak. The Great Northern War broke out. On one side was the Swedish Empire, then regarded as the most powerful military force in Northern Europe. On the other was a Russian-led alliance under the command of Peter the Great. The war lasted more than 20 years. Fleets clashed repeatedly at sea. Port cities changed hands again and again. Tens of thousands of soldiers died, all for control of a small sea capable of determining the fate of all Northern Europe. When the war ended, Sweden lost its dominant position. Russia rose to become the Baltic's new great power, opening an entirely different chapter in the region's history. But the Baltic Sea preserves more than the memory of the victors. Beneath the frigid water, thousands of ships have lain silent for centuries. In most other seas, wood would quickly be eaten away by marine organisms, while metal would be destroyed by salt water over time. The Baltic Sea is different. The water here is colder, less salty, and almost entirely free of shipworms that bore into wood. Those seemingly harsh conditions have turned this sea into a vast vault of history. Many ships from the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries still lie intact on the seabed. Their hulls, masts, rudders, and even wooden barrels and sailors' belongings remain almost perfectly preserved, as though they had sunk only a few years ago. Each shipwreck tells a different story. Some once carried cargo to Hanseatic cities. Some were warships sunk by cannon fire in the middle of naval battles. And some vessels vanished from history until archaeologists discovered them hundreds of years later. For this reason, archaeologists call the Baltic Sea one of the largest underwater museums in the world. A place where history is not kept behind display glass, but still rests silently beneath the water, waiting to be discovered. But above that layer of history lies an entirely different Baltic Sea. A peaceful sea whose beauty has endured for thousands of years. Rising prominently from the wild Baltic Sea under Estonian sovereignty, Saaremaa appears as the country's largest island, covering more than 1,004 square miles. This destination is renowned for its vast forests embracing dark, steep limestone cliffs that stretch along the coastline. This primordial geological formation exposes its rugged face to the relentless pounding of powerful waves. The island's terrain preserves the dramatic remains of the Kaali meteorite crater, which dates back more than 4,000 years. The enormous crater contains deep blue water, surrounded by granite terraces and steep groves of ancient trees. This ancient survival site creates a majestic and mysterious spatial composition reminiscent of a prehistoric scene. Along the windswept land terraces, gray wooden windmills stand in solitude, like historical witnesses from the 18th century. Their large blades continuously capture cold air currents from the Gulf of Riga to operate a primitive mechanical system. The presence of this ancient architecture reinforces the rugged and desolate character of this subarctic landscape. Strong sea winds sweep across the limestone cliffs of Panga, carrying salty moisture directly into the ancient pine forests. The roar of the waves blends with the whistling sounds rushing through rock crevices, creating wild and relentless echoes throughout the landscape. The entire island is saturated with the scent of marine sediment and damp moss, leaving a profound sense of awe deeply etched into memory. Ķemeri National Park is located west of the city of Jurmala, Latvia, and is distinguished by its vast peat bog ecosystem. This destination possesses valuable natural hot mineral springs and therapeutic mineral mud resources used for medical purposes. This pristine natural formation opens into a solitary and completely tranquil survival landscape untouched by time. The protected core contains the magnificent Great Ķemeri Bog, featuring a wooden boardwalk stretching for more than 1.9 miles in a winding path. This narrow walkway leads visitors directly through quiet ponds and vast moss-covered landscapes. The low-lying terrain restricts visibility and isolates the scene from the noise of the modern world. Standing amid the mysterious wetland terraces is a sturdy wooden observation tower with rustic architecture. From its summit, visitors can enjoy sweeping views of sunrise or sunset spreading across the pristine coastal forests. This location also serves as a refuge for thousands of migratory birds, gathering along the coastal lakes. One of the few human-made traces here consists of historic resort buildings dating back to the 19th century, standing silently along the forest edge. Their old walls covered in moss clearly reveal the harsh passage of Baltic history. Slītere National Park encompasses the dramatic meeting point where the waters of the Gulf of Riga collide directly with the Baltic Sea at Cape Kolka. This destination features a system of ancient sand dunes formed over thousands of years, running parallel to one another. These unique geographical folds divide the coastline into numerous isolated marshy valleys. This geological isolation has transformed the area into a critical migration corridor for tens of thousands of birds during spring. Rather than typical pine forests, Slītere preserves primeval broadleaf forests with some of the highest plant density in Latvia. This green canopy shelters large predators such as lynxes and wolves that continue to inhabit the region. Deep within the forest stands the Slītere Lighthouse, built atop the weathered Blue Hills, which once formed the coastline during the Ice Age. This architectural landmark stands completely separated from the present shoreline, offering panoramic views across the endless forest canopy below. Its location clearly reveals the immense geological shifts that have shaped the landscape. The coastal fringe preserves traces of the Livonians, one of the world's fastest disappearing minority peoples. Their way of life is closely connected to isolated fishing villages built from rough gray timber. The air here is saturated with the flavor of traditional smoked fish, the scent of dry pine resin, and the harsh cold of the subarctic region. Standing prominently amid the wild Baltic Sea under Estonian sovereignty, Hiiumaa appears as the second largest island of this subarctic nation. This isolated paradise features forests covering more than 60% of its land area, interwoven with pristine wetlands recognized by UNESCO. This magnificent geological formation reveals a rugged face exposed to relentless wind and waves. The barren sandspit of Saaremaa stretches dramatically into the Baltic Sea, creating a challenging geographical boundary. The end of this narrow strip of land is surrounded by shallow waters and vast fields of gray pebbles along the shoreline. This unique structure compresses the landscape while opening an expansive view toward the distant horizon. Guarding the continental shelf, stands the historic Kopu Lighthouse, built in the 16th century atop the island's highest hill. This sturdy granite structure is one of the oldest continuously operating lighthouses in the world. The gray tower stands in solitude amid the open sea, guiding cargo ships through these treacherous waters. During winter, the strait freezes completely, creating the longest sea ice road in Europe connecting the island to the mainland. Bitter winds continuously sweep across the slippery ice surface, carrying intense cold directly into the ancient pine forests along the shore. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of frozen sea spray and salty air, leaving a profound sense of awe deeply etched into memory. Gotland Island lies isolated in the middle of the Baltic Sea. A 2.2-mile limestone wall has enclosed the medieval town of Visby since the 13th century. Its strategic location once made the island a stronghold for pirates and merchants of the Hanseatic League. This massive medieval defensive system still stands with 36 gray stone watchtowers. Intense wave erosion has exposed enormous limestone sea stacks known as rauks, standing like towering stone spires. These distinctive formations were created by the collapse of ancient coral reefs millions of years ago. The porous limestone beneath the surface has also formed the deep Lumalunda cave system with its underground streams. More than 90 medieval stone churches are scattered across the remote countryside, creating a mysterious architectural network. Geographic isolation has helped preserve Viking-age silver coin hoards beneath the soil. The island retains the atmosphere of a place forgotten by time. Centuries of militarization transformed the island into a natural fortress, controlling Baltic shipping routes. Today, field researchers visit to examine the mass graves from the brutal Battle of Visby in 1361. The scars of war stand in stark contrast with the sheer sea cliffs carved by relentless waves. The Käsmu Peninsula extends into the Gulf of Finland along the northern coast of Estonia. This destination features a narrow strip of land surrounded by dense ancient pine forests and steep coastal terraces. The entire geological landscape reveals a wild and exposed appearance before the powerful waves that sweep in year-round from the Baltic Sea. The peninsula is renowned for having the highest concentration of massive boulders in Estonia, remnants left behind from the Ice Age. Gray granite rocks covered in moss lie scattered along the water's edge, creating a rugged and challenging terrain. This natural arrangement completely isolates the location from the rhythm of modern life. At the edge of the peninsula lies the historic fishing village of Käsmu, distinguished by its white-painted wooden houses dating back to the 19th century. The village was once a renowned center for captain training and preserves the long and dramatic maritime history of the Baltic region. The ancient architecture stands silently before the sea, emphasizing the solitude and isolation of this northern land. A white wooden lighthouse station built in 1892 now serves as a maritime museum along the coast. No longer illuminated, the historic structure stands as a witness preserving the memories of generations of sailors from the Gulf. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of decaying pine wood and sea salt, leaving a profound sense of awe, deeply etched into memory. The Gauja River Valley in northern Latvia is home to Gauja National Park, the largest and oldest protected area in the country. It is renowned for its dark sandstone cliffs, hundreds of millions of years old, stretching along both sides of the river. This magnificent natural formation reveals a wild and exposed appearance shaped by the passage of time. The valley is covered by dense ancient pine forests intertwined with more than 500 historical monuments. The steep terrain reveals the ruins of medieval red brick castles such as Tureda and Cesis, standing in solitude atop high hills. These ancient architectural remnants remain motionless, dominating the wild landscape. The core of the reserve contains a network of natural sandstone caves, most notably Gutmanis Cave, the largest cave in the Baltic region. Its cave walls preserve countless inscriptions and carvings dating back to the 17th century, engraved by earlier generations. The damp sandstone structure completely isolates the interior space, breaking away from the rhythm of modern life. Subarctic winds continuously sweep through the Gauja River Valley, carrying cold air directly into the spruce forests. The rustling of forest leaves blends with the rushing sound of flowing water, creating a sequence of deeply solitary sounds. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of damp plant humus and ancient sandstone, leaving a profound sense of awe, deeply etched into memory. Soomaa National Park is located in southwestern Estonia and consists of a vast peat bog landscape. It is famous for its unusual fifth season. Snowmelt causes floodwaters to rise suddenly, submerging the low-lying land terraces. Entire old-growth forests are instantly transformed into an immense inland sea, completely isolating this wild landscape. The floodwaters create a unique opportunity to kayak through deeply submerged ancient tree canopies. This region preserves the traditional habu dugout canoe craftsmanship recognized by UNESCO. Hollowed tree trunks move slowly through the sparse forest. This detail reveals a unique survival method developed to adapt to severe natural disasters. When the land dries, the heart of the wetland reveals winding wooden boardwalks. These pathways lead visitors directly across sinking mudflats and dark black water pools. The low-lying terrain restricts visibility, creating ideal conditions for observing traces of wildlife activity from beavers, brown bears, and wolves. Moist winds continuously sweep across moss-covered ground, carrying cold air over the spruce treetops. The sound of water splashing against decaying roots blends with the unsettling silence of the ancient forest, creating a sequence of lonely sounds. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of decaying plant humus and mineral-rich mud, leaving a profound sense of awe deeply etched into memory. The Hel Peninsula is an exceptionally narrow sandspit stretching 21.7 miles into the vast Baltic Sea. This unique geographical formation divides the surrounding waters into two completely contrasting environments. On one side lies the mirror-like calm of Puck Bay, while on the other, the open Baltic Sea is swept by strong winds and powerful waves. The peninsula's geology is so unusual that its width narrows to only 328 to 574 feet at its narrowest point. This extremely narrow section, located between Jastarnia and Kuznitsa, allows visitors to stand in the middle of the peninsula and see both coastlines at the same time. Its slender shape provides a truly distinctive field perspective. Formed entirely from sand and sediment over thousands of years of geological development, the peninsula is bordered by windswept coastal sand dunes. Stunted pine forests cling to the nutrient-poor sandy soil to withstand powerful storms. This specialized vegetation helps stabilize the fragile geological structure. The shallow, wind-swept waters surrounding the peninsula contain a complex system of currents that continuously redistribute sediment. This natural process gradually extends the tip of the peninsula farther into the sea each year without any human engineering. The entire ecosystem is strictly protected and remains isolated from all heavy industrial activities. Öland Island lies offshore along the southeastern coast of Sweden. The entire island is connected to the mainland by the Öland Bridge, which stretches for more than 3.7 miles. This destination features a narrow, flat landscape formed mainly from a thin limestone bedrock. Most of the southern area consists of barren limestone plains exposed to strong sea winds throughout the year. The Stora Alvarez Plain occupies the central part of the island, where drought-resistant vegetation grows sparsely on porous limestone. This unique geological structure prevents the growth of large trees, creating a distinctive tundra-like landscape. Small wild orchids grow among cracks in Ordovician rock layers. More than 70 circular stone fortresses dating back to the Iron Age are scattered along remote trails. The most famous is Eketorp Fortress, which has been fully reconstructed to recreate the ancient military life of the island's inhabitants. These circular stone structures served as shelters against attacks from the sea. The northern coastline is famous for the Byram Rauks, limestone sea stacks sculpted into unusual shapes by relentless wave erosion. Geologists frequently visit the site to collect trilobite fossils that are hundreds of millions of years old. The island's landscape blends archaeological remains with the harsh winds of the northern sea. The Pakri Islands are located in northwestern Estonia and consist of the two islands Väike Pakri and Suur Pakri. This destination is renowned for its magnificent limestone cliffs that plunge directly into the turbulent Baltic Sea. The primordial geological landscape reveals a stark and untamed appearance in the face of relentless wind and waves. This location preserves a dramatic and rugged military history that stretches across time. It was once a highly secret military base and a terrifying bombing range of the former Soviet Union. After decades of change, the islands have been reborn as a unique and peaceful nature reserve. The damaged terrain exposes the remains of old gray concrete military fortifications. These traces of war lie silently amid desolate grasslands and solitude. Today, the surface of the two islands serves as a safe habitat for many rare seabird species. Shaggy Highland cattle graze freely around historic Swedish village houses that have long been abandoned. The presence of living creatures softens the rugged character of the limestone terraces and breaks the isolation of the northern landscape. Visitors often choose to explore the islands by boat or by walking along the wild coastal terraces. Strong sea winds sweep across barren, moss-covered ground, carrying salty moisture directly against the exposed cliffs. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of ancient gunpowder mixed with sea salt, leaving a profound sense of awe, deeply etched into memory. The Stockholm archipelago stretches across the Baltic Sea with a network of more than 30,000 remote islands and islets. The historic town of Vaxholm stands at the gateway, featuring an ancient stone fortress built to defend the sea routes. Cliffs and narrow straits surround the landscape, helping shield Sweden's capital from storms coming in from the open sea. Sandhem Island lies on the outer edge of the archipelago and is an internationally renowned sailing destination thanks to its strong and consistent winds. The landscape transitions into pristine sandy beaches and stunted pine forests rooted in granite bedrock. Cold ocean currents constantly circulate through the channels, keeping the waters exceptionally clear. The tradition of combining sauna bathing with cold sea swimming continues in the characteristic red wooden cottages lining the shore. The red paint, made from iron ore byproducts, helps protect the pine wood from the corrosive effects of Baltic sea salt. Bare granite bedrock, polished by glaciers, has created thousands of rocky islands rising from the dark gray sea. The vegetation changes distinctly from mainland pine and oak forests to salt-tolerant coastal shrubs. Dense sea fog frequently forms in the early morning, veiling the narrow straits. The Koster Islands lie isolated in the Skagerrak Sea, with their bedrock bordered by a geological trench about 656 feet deep. This is the only place in Sweden where deep-water coral reefs exist, sustained by cold ocean currents with exceptionally high salinity. The landscape is dominated by pink granite bedrock that was heavily sculpted by ancient glaciers. Complete isolation from industrial traffic is maintained through a ban on all internal combustion engine vehicles on the islands. Residents and field researchers travel exclusively by homemade three-wheeled carts or on foot along gravel trails. This approach helps preserve the clean subarctic air from exhaust pollution. Hardy juniper shrubs and salt-tolerant grasses grow directly from cracks in the nutrient-poor granite bedrock. Strong winds and intense sunlight have produced low-growing vegetation with root systems specially adapted to withstand ocean salt spray. The exposed rocky shores provide ideal locations for observing the breeding cycle of harbor seals. The archipelago is divided into North and South Koster by a narrow strait with powerful currents. Old wooden piers serve as the only docking points for ecological research vessels during rough seas. The islands remain free of urban development, preserving a rugged and pristine natural environment. Located at the outer edge of the Archipelago Sea, Bengtskär Island is the southernmost point of Finland, featuring a barren, windswept landscape. The scenery is strikingly rugged, with smooth gray granite slabs heavily eroded by the waves of the Baltic Sea. The entire perimeter of the island is completely devoid of large trees. Rising above the vast expanse of the sea, Bengtskär Lighthouse, the largest stone lighthouse in Northern Europe, stands proudly at a height of 171 feet. This massive structure is firmly anchored to the ancient bedrock, serving as a historic maritime outpost capable of withstanding powerful storms. It is an engineering landmark seamlessly blended into the surreal natural landscape. The harsh weather and salty ocean air have eliminated most low-growing vegetation, leaving only lichens clinging to the rocky cliffs. Seabirds, especially eider ducks, choose the bare rock crevices as safe nesting sites throughout the summer. The island's complete isolation has created an independent natural ecosystem. This destination has no permanent residents other than those who operate the lighthouse and welcome research teams. Boats can reach the island only on calm days by using a small, sturdy wooden pier anchored to the rocky shoreline. Every barren natural feature here has been strictly protected for more than a century. The Hanko Peninsula is the southernmost point of mainland Finland, extending into the junction of the Gulf of Finland and the Baltic Sea. This destination features an 80.8-mile coastline with a strikingly contrasting landscape. Long stretches of calm, sandy beaches alternate with countless smooth granite rock outcrops sculpted by sea waves over centuries. Its strategic military location made the peninsula an important defensive outpost during numerous historical wars. Ancient stone fortifications and military bunkers from the last century remain scattered along the coastal cliffs. Historical researchers frequently visit the area to conduct field studies of these former battlefield remains. The natural landscape is distinguished by coastal pine forests firmly rooted in nutrient-poor sandy soil. Because the climate here is warmer than in the rest of the country, the vegetation is more diverse, with many species of salt-tolerant wildflowers. It is also one of the most important stopover sites for millions of migratory birds. The port town of Hanko preserves a peaceful atmosphere with its 19th century wooden villas featuring distinctive architecture. The peninsula's ecosystem is strictly managed by the authorities to prevent negative impacts from industrial maritime activities. The landscape retains the open, rugged, and pristine character of the sea. Denmark's Bornholm Island lies isolated in the middle of the Baltic Sea and possesses a uniquely extreme geological diversity. While the southern half consists of long, flat, white, sandy beaches along the coast, the northern half is dominated by towering, steep, dark granite cliffs. This striking contrast creates a diverse field site for geological research. The island's most remarkable historical landmarks are its 4 unique 12th century round stone churches. These solid structures served both as places of worship and as defensive fortresses against attacks from the sea. Standing alone across the landscape, they have preserved their medieval character remarkably well. The island's interior is dominated by the vast Almindingen forest, home to the steep Echo-Dalen Rift Valley. The natural landscape combines wild wetlands with moss-covered rocky cliffs that block much of the sunlight. It is also home to a rewilded population of European bison. The island's ecosystem is highlighted by the abandoned Hammershus Fortress, the largest medieval fortress in northern Europe. Perched atop a rocky cliff, authorities have implemented strict regulations aimed at making the island the world's first zero-waste island. The surrounding marine environment is strictly protected from industrial impacts. Jasmund National Park is Germany's smallest national park, yet it boasts one of Europe's most spectacular natural landscapes on the peninsula of Rügen Island. The landscape is distinguished by a continuous line of towering white chalk cliffs stretching along the coastline. These steep geological formations plunge directly into the turquoise waters of the Baltic Sea, creating a dramatic contrast. Atop the white chalk cliffs stand magnificent ancient beech forests that have remained untouched for centuries. This pristine ecosystem, never significantly altered by human activity, has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The combination of old-growth forest and towering cliffs creates a vast and unspoiled natural landscape. Because of the characteristic softness of the chalk, this coastline is continuously eroded by powerful sea waves throughout the year. This geological process causes spectacular natural landslides that carry ancient sediment deposits down to the brackish shoreline. The endless erosion continually reshapes the dramatic chalk cliffs. This wild landscape is completely free of commercial infrastructure. Visitors must follow specially designed wooden boardwalks and trails to protect the fragile slopes. The entire core area of the national park is strictly monitored throughout each storm season. Puck Bay, located in the southern Baltic Sea, is sheltered by the Hel Peninsula, creating a uniquely calm and shallow body of water. With an average depth of only about 6.6 to 19.7 feet, this flooded basin resembles a peaceful, brackish water plain. Ongoing geological deposition continuously lays down fine layers of sandy mud across the bay floor. Dense seagrass meadows cover the submerged continental shelf, serving as one of the region's most important natural carbon sinks. This aquatic vegetation provides pristine spawning grounds for Baltic herring and gobies. The warm, brackish waters maintain ideal conditions for aquatic life. The flat shoreline is bordered by dense reed beds and cold-tolerant coastal salt meadows. This ecosystem lies along a major migratory route for tens of thousands of rare waterbirds and shorebirds seeking seasonal refuge. The peaceful environment feels completely separated from the windswept open sea beyond. Kite surfing and other wind sports thrive in these shallow waters, thanks to steady winds and the absence of dangerous, large waves. Polish authorities enforce strict conservation regulations within the coastal landscape park to manage tourism pressure. The entire bay preserves its pristine and open natural character. Denmark's Stevns Klint chalk cliffs are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the location where part of the historic Høyrup Church collapsed into the Baltic Sea in 1928. This historic structure stands precariously on the edge of the steep cliff, where powerful waves continuously erode its foundation. The geological boundary between the Cretaceous period and the Paleogene period is clearly exposed as a thin, dark clay layer dating back 66 million years. This remarkable sediment contains a high concentration of iridium, providing key evidence of the asteroid impact that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. International geologists regard this site as Earth's history book carved in stone. This white chalk cliff system stretches for 9.3 miles along Denmark's coastline, with an average height of 134.5 feet. Above the cliffs, low oak forests and salt-tolerant wild grasslands are continuously bent by strong ocean winds. The exposed geological layers at the base of the cliffs constantly change shape after every major storm season. The entire coastline is completely devoid of coral reefs or fine sandy beaches, featuring only sharp rock formations rising from the shore. Field visitors must descend a sturdy wooden staircase system to reach the central sedimentary area. The site's wild and pristine condition is strictly protected against all forms of construction. Cape Kolka lies at the rugged meeting point between the waves of the Gulf of Riga and the open Baltic Sea, within Latvian territory. This destination is globally renowned for the phenomenon of two seas colliding, creating unique intersecting waves crowned with white foam. The impressive sand spit here constantly changes its shape and length according to wind direction and the force of ocean currents. The area was once transformed into a highly restricted military exclusion zone under strict Soviet control. Today, this location has regained its freedom and become a core part of the wild Slītere National Park. Its position extending directly into the sea turns this sandy landform into a major stopover for millions of migratory birds during spring. The surface of the cape is scattered with ancient tree trunks toppled by storms, lying exposed and weathered beneath the subarctic sun and wind. This rugged terrain remains free from modern concrete structures in order to preserve the natural dynamics of the shifting landscape. The scene reveals a stark appearance that continuously challenges the relentless erosion of powerful waves. The coastal fringe preserves the ancient cultural traditions of the Livonians, one of the world's smallest indigenous peoples. Their maritime lifestyle is reflected in gray wooden houses standing silently near the water's edge. The atmosphere along the sandy shore is saturated with the flavor of smoked fish, the scent of dry pine resin, and the harsh chill of the vast ocean. Lake Engure is located in western Latvia, near the coast of the Gulf of Riga, and is the country's third-largest coastal lake. The entire area is strictly protected to preserve its intact wetland ecosystem. The shallow lake basin reveals vast stretches of calm water, interwoven with dense reed beds, creating a wild and untamed landscape. This destination is a renowned European bird-watching paradise, with more than 180 bird species nesting and taking refuge here. The marshlands and small islands create an ideal habitat for numerous rare waterbird species. Wooden observation towers built along the shoreline offer direct views into this thriving wildlife environment. The forests and grasslands surrounding the lake provide a free-ranging habitat for herds of cattle and wild horses belonging to ancient breeds. These large grazing animals are allowed to roam naturally in order to control the spread of reeds and maintain ecological balance within the vegetation. Their presence vividly recreates a natural scene reminiscent of prehistoric times. Wooden boardwalks extend through calcium-rich marshlands where many rare species of wild orchids flourish. The area remains completely isolated from urban life, preserving its original atmosphere of tranquility. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of damp, mineral-rich mud and the pungent aroma of decaying grass, leaving a profound sense of awe, deeply etched into memory. The narrow sand spit, known as the Curonian Spit, stretches for 60.9 miles, winding between the Curonian Lagoon and the open Baltic Sea. This location has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to its unique geological structure shaped by ocean winds and waves. Its most remarkable feature is the shifting Parnidis Dune, one of the highest sand dunes in Europe. The harsh sea winds forced earlier inhabitants to plant vast pine forests to stabilize the sinking sandy terrain. The intertwined root systems formed a natural barrier against erosion and desertification. This green cover protects coastal roots and prevents drifting sand from burying nearby settlements. Hidden behind the pine forests lies Nida, a historic fishing village known for its wooden houses displaying distinctive Baltic architectural traditions. The facades are painted in contrasting deep blue and dark red colors, clearly reflecting ancient maritime customs. These buildings stand quietly along the lagoon shore, preserving the atmosphere of past centuries. Its position extending into the sea transforms the spit into a natural migration corridor for millions of birds. Visitors follow wooden boardwalks to reach the dune summits without damaging the fragile terrain. The atmosphere is characterized by the scent of dry pine resin, warm sand, and strong sea winds. Stora Karlsö Island rises prominently off the coast of Gotland and is the world's second oldest nature reserve after Yellowstone. This limestone island has the appearance of a natural fortress with towering cliffs rising above the Baltic Sea. Its entire coastline is enclosed by steep limestone cliffs that make access by sea extremely difficult. Porous limestone bedrock, weathered since the Silurian period, provides ideal conditions for rare plant species to flourish. Dozens of wild orchid species bloom across the dry limestone grasslands, alongside drought-tolerant native vegetation. More than 40,000 pairs of thick-billed murees nest within the limestone crevices, making the island the largest seabird colony in the Baltic Sea. The calls of these seabirds echo against the cliffs, creating the island's distinctive natural soundtrack throughout the summer. Natural caves beneath the limestone cliffs preserve archaeological remains dating back to the Neolithic period. Open excavations have uncovered ancient human bones and the remains of wild animals. Today, authorities strictly limit the number of visitors allowed on the island to preserve the site in its original condition. The Hobergen coastal area is located at the southernmost tip of Gotland Island in Sweden. It features steep limestone reef cliffs rising up to 98 feet high and plunging directly into the Baltic Sea. This geographical location is continuously eroded by powerful waves, creating a rugged coastal landscape with exposed ancient bedrock. The natural landscape is extremely dry and wild, characterized by its distinctive alvar terrain. These flat, barren limestone pavements have a very thin, nutrient-poor weathered soil layer. Due to the harsh conditions, only juniper trees and drought-resistant wildflowers survive by extending their roots deep into geological cracks. The most remarkable landmark of this region is the Rauk sea stack known as Hoberg's Gubben, or the Old Man of Hoberg. It is a masterpiece of natural erosion sculpted by wind and seawater over many millennia. The rock formation resembles a human face that appears to gaze endlessly toward the distant horizon. The area's engineering landmark is the Greystone Hoberg Lighthouse, which oversees Baltic maritime routes. Field researchers frequently visit to collect exposed prehistoric fossil specimens from the coastal rock platforms. Its geographical isolation has preserved the shoreline in its raw, untouched, natural state. Fårö Island lies separately off the northeastern coast of Gotland Island in Sweden and is famous for its extraordinary limestone landscape. The enormous Rauk limestone sea stacks were formed by the relentless erosion of Baltic Sea waves over millions of years. They rise dramatically along the white, sandy shoreline, creating a surreal geological landscape rarely found anywhere else. Sudersand Beach stretches across a long section of the island's coastline and is regarded as having the finest sand in Sweden's coastal system. Adjacent to it are barren, wild limestone plains divided by ancient stone fences built from natural boulders. Low-growing pine forests struggle to survive on these nutrient-poor soils. The island's complete tranquility results from its isolated location in the middle of the Baltic Sea. Its harsh climate and year-round sea winds force vegetation to adapt by growing close to the ground. The desolate landscape shows no signs of industrialization, preserving the raw character of untouched wilderness. Its most distinctive feature is that this solitary natural landscape became the greatest source of inspiration for legendary director Ingmar Bergman, who chose it as the setting for many of his classic films. The peaceful atmosphere and ancient rock formations continue to be strictly preserved as a cultural heritage site closely linked to the history of world cinema. The Öland Archipelago is a unique autonomous region of Finland located at the entrance to the Gulf of Bothnia in the Baltic Sea. Its landscape consists of more than 6,500 islands formed entirely from distinctive pink granite bedrock. Smooth rock cliffs, heavily sculpted by ancient glaciers, rise above deep blue straits, winding throughout the coastline. Rich pine and maple forests blanket the granite bedrock, changing into brilliant colors throughout the seasons. The vegetation is clearly layered from the interior of the larger islands to the salt-tolerant shrubs growing along the wave-beaten shoreline. Baltic Sea winds constantly sweep across the land, creating a diverse and harsh natural ecosystem. Thanks to its unique geographical location, the archipelago features beautiful, peaceful coastal routes connected by an extensive network of local ferries. This water transportation system operates continuously to maintain connections among the isolated rocky islands. Quiet grazing fields are scattered among nutrient-poor limestone valleys. The calm bays of this destination are considered a paradise for kayaking and cycling through nature. Researchers and visitors come here to experience a pristine natural environment free from noise. The entire archipelago is strictly protected to preserve its ancient pink granite landscape. Finland's Archipelago Sea holds the world record for having the largest number of islands, with tens of thousands of rocky islands of all sizes. The landscape is constantly changing due to post-glacial rebound, causing the land to rise above the Baltic Sea every year. This continuous uplift of the bedrock steadily reshapes the coastline and navigational channels. The bedrock consists mainly of ancient gneiss and granite that were heavily polished by glaciers during the Quaternary period. Millions of small rocky islands, known as skerries, lie closely packed together, forming a vast and hazardous maze of waterways. This ongoing geological movement attracts stratigraphic researchers from around the world for field studies. The shallow waters among the remote islands serve as vital spawning grounds for salmon populations and gray seals of northern Europe. Vegetation varies dramatically, from dense pine forests on the larger islands to barren expanses of lichens along the outer coastline. During winter, complete freezing transforms the entire sea into a vast white ice desert. The only practical way of life for local residents depends entirely on a network of public ferries connecting the islands. The region is free of major urban development, with only sturdy stone lighthouses standing in isolation. The wild character of the sea is strictly protected against industrial impacts. At the outermost edge of Finland's Archipelago Sea, Hiiumaa Island is actually the oceanward extension of the Salpausselkä 3 glacial ridge. This geological formation makes the island a one-of-a-kind, massive gravel ridge in the middle of the Baltic Sea. Its barren surface is completely devoid of the smooth, rounded granite boulders commonly found elsewhere. This destination features endless fields of rounded pebbles sorted by sea waves over thousands of years. Powerful subarctic storms continually shift the smaller stones, creating a constantly changing shoreline. Low-growing, drought-resistant heather is the only vegetation that blankets the gray rocky plain with shades of purple in late summer. A rare grove of dwarf pines planted centuries ago forms the only green area in the island's interior. Because the humus layer is thin and poor in nutrients, the trees grow twisted in the direction of the prevailing winds to remain anchored in the loose geological deposits. This is an important field research site for botanists studying plant survival under extreme conditions. An old wooden church and an abandoned windmill are the only remaining signs of historic settlement. Today, local residents make their living by grazing sheep on the natural salt meadows along the island's edge. The island remains completely peaceful and isolated from industrial maritime traffic. Finland's Koker archipelago is a group of isolated rocky islands located on the southeastern edge of the autonomous Öland region, displaying a rugged and untamed beauty. The area features barren gray granite cliffs, smoothed into rounded forms by the relentless waves and winds of the Baltic Sea. These steep rock formations plunge directly into the deep, crystal-clear waters. The interiors of the larger islands consist of small, sloping valleys forming natural wind-catching basins. The vegetation is clearly divided, with sprawling juniper shrubs growing close to the ground to withstand storms. The harsh maritime climate forces salt-tolerant grasses to store nutrients within their tough root systems. Historical records document the presence of a Franciscan monastery dating back to the 15th century, marking one of the area's earliest known settlements. The weathered stone foundations stand exposed across the plain, serving as important subjects for archaeological research. Today, the local residents continue to live in relative isolation, relying primarily on fishing for their livelihood. This remote landscape is entirely free of modern industrial urban development. Field researchers can travel between the islands only by small boats because of the strong currents in the narrow straits. Strict conservation has preserved the archipelago's exposed, ancient geological landscape in its original condition. Denmark's Mund's Klint chalk cliffs are a spectacular natural wonder featuring a dazzling white chalk escarpment stretching for 3.7 miles. This unique landform rises to heights of 420 feet before plunging dramatically into the windswept Baltic Sea. The geological layers were formed from the compressed shells of millions of ancient marine organisms over countless centuries. The landscape is renowned for the stunning contrast between the brilliant white chalk cliffs and the turquoise waters below. Above the cliff tops, lush ancient oak forests blanket the entire edge of the escarpment. This blend of colors creates a pristine and surreal natural ecosystem. The shoreline beneath the cliffs is a geological treasure preserving countless fossils of marine life from the distant Cretaceous period. Field visitors can easily discover exposed remains of sea urchins and ancient shark teeth after natural landslides. It is one of Northern Europe's most important sites for evolutionary research. This destination is also a paradise for long-distance hiking and exceptional stargazing thanks to its remarkably dark skies. The coastal area is completely free of urban light pollution and meets the standards of an international dark sky park. The entire chalk cliff system is strictly protected from industrial impacts. Denmark's Grenen sand spit stretches exposed into the open sea, where the waters of the Skagerrak and Kattegat meet directly. The landscape is surreal as waves from two opposing directions collide, creating a permanent band of white foam. The boundary between the two bodies of water is clearly visible because of their different salinity. The terrain consists of an endless expanse of sand and gravel, swept by strong winds year-round and reshaped after every tidal cycle. A striking contrast appears between the brilliant golden sand and the deep green and dark blue waters surrounding the spit. A system of shifting parallel sand dunes extends along the shoreline, covered with sparse, salt-tolerant grasses. Because relentless ocean winds constantly sweep across the area, no tree species can take root or survive on this exposed point of land. Offshore, the Grey Skagen Lighthouse with its distinctive black stripe stands alone as a solid architectural landmark against the wild horizon. This exposed coastline has no coral reefs or granite cliffs, only an endless stretch of fine sand. The site's pristine natural condition is strictly protected from industrial impacts. Near the northern coast of the Jutland Peninsula, Denmark's Råbjerg mile-shifting sand dune is a one-of-a-kind miniature desert. This enormous dune contains approximately 141 million cubic feet of exposed sediment and is completely devoid of tall vegetation. Under the force of powerful ocean winds, the entire sand mass continuously moves toward the southeast. The landscape displays a harsh and surreal beauty, with endless ripples of brilliant golden sand. The dramatic contrast is evident as this moving desert gradually engulfs dwarf pine forests and wild grasslands along its path. Every subarctic storm completely reshapes the surface of the dune crests. Local residents do not interfere through mechanical methods or by planting windbreaks, respecting the natural process. The site's pristine and wild condition has been strictly protected by authorities for more than a century. Rügen Island is Germany's largest island, renowned for Jasmund National Park and its towering, brilliant white chalk cliffs. These steep landforms rise up to 387 feet before plunging directly into the crystal-clear emerald waters of the Baltic Sea. Ancient chalk deposits formed over millions of years have transformed the area into a magnificent natural stronghold. The UNESCO World Heritage Site here consists of centuries-old ancient beech forests surrounding the cliff tops. The lush green canopy covers the elevated plateau, extending to the edge of the dazzling white chalk cliffs and creating a striking contrast with the blue waters below. This ecosystem has developed in isolation and remains completely pristine. Farther inland, the island reveals a spacious and diverse ecosystem with tranquil lagoons. Windswept sand dunes continuously change shape, forming endless stretches of fine white sandy beaches along the continental shelf. Low vegetation grows among barren salt marshes exposed to storms throughout the year. Coastal headlands such as Cape Arcona have long served as historic maritime outposts with their traditional lighthouses. The island's ecosystem remains free from heavy industries that could pollute its brackish waters. Field researchers regard this exposed geological landscape as one of the world's most important natural laboratories. The Königstuhl Chalk Cliffs are one of the most famous geological formations on Rügen Island. This limestone cliff rises 387 feet above the Baltic Sea. The towering white cliff forms a proud, natural stronghold. Its exposed geological layers remain fully exposed to the relentless ocean winds throughout the year. The name, meaning King's Chair, is linked to ancient Norse legends about royal trials of succession. In the past, members of the royal family were said to climb directly from the shoreline to the top of the steep cliff to prove their right to rule. Today, the summit has become one of the region's finest panoramic viewpoints. A modern elliptical steel observation platform, called the Skywalk Königstuhl, was recently inaugurated. This architectural structure extends over the cliff edge without being anchored directly into the fragile chalk bedrock. This innovative design completely eliminates the risk of triggering geological landslides. At the base of the cliff, dark boulders and rounded pebbles are scattered along the shoreline, forming a simple boundary with the brackish waters. Visitors can reach this core area only by sea to preserve the site's pristine condition. The entire chalk cliff system is strictly monitored against the effects of changing climatic conditions. Woolin National Park, in northwestern Poland, is home to a European bison conservation center hidden within its strictly protected old-growth forest. These rare giant animals are raised in an isolated natural environment to help restore their population. From this ecological core, the vegetation extends all the way to the windswept Baltic coastline. Towering white chalk cliffs rise more than 295 feet above the Baltic Sea, facing the relentless force of its powerful waves. This exposed 9.3-mile cliff system serves as a natural defensive wall against storms and coastal winds. Its bare geological layers remain continuously exposed to ongoing erosion. Each year, the steep cliff edge retreats inland by approximately 1.1 to 2.6 feet as waves gradually erode its base. This powerful geological process carves dramatic landforms and causes ancient oak trees to collapse into the brackish waters below. The coastline is constantly reshaped, making it a dynamic natural field site. Where the Oder River flows into the sea, a calm southern lagoon opens into a network of muddy islands and wetlands. This windswept aquatic landscape serves as a primary hunting territory for the rare white-tailed eagle. Strict conservation regulations prohibit all mechanical intervention, preserving the area's wild character. The enormous shifting sand dunes, often called the Sahara of the Baltic region, are the natural centerpiece of Curonian Spit National Park in Russia's Kaliningrad Oblast. These towering formations of fine white sand rise as high as 197 feet beside the open sea. Driven by powerful winds, the dunes continuously shift and reshape the landscape throughout the year. This remarkable geological phenomenon repeatedly buries and exposes ancient forests over time. The most famous site is the Dancing Forest, where pine trees twist and curve into surreal loops and spirals. Scientists continue to study the causes behind this unusual biological structure. This narrow sandy peninsula stretches for 60.9 miles, forming a natural barrier that separates the calm Curonian lagoon from the windswept Baltic Sea. Its unique geography makes it a major migration corridor for millions of birds traveling across northern Europe each year. The Rybaczy Biological Station was established to identify and monitor these bird populations. The entire fragile ecosystem is strictly protected under UNESCO regulations to prevent the collapse and degradation of the delicate sand dunes. Local residents stabilize the dunes by planting protective grasses and installing wooden sand fences across the sediment surface. The landscape preserves its pristine, open, and wild character. Along the northern coastline of Estonia, Hiiumaa National Park was established as the largest and oldest nature reserve in the Baltic nation. The entire landscape is covered by dense old-growth forests and rocky peninsulas projecting directly into the rough sea gulf. This magnificent natural formation reveals an entirely primordial appearance. The heart of the ancient forest provides a safe refuge for wildlife such as brown bears, wolves, and lynxes. Stretching nearby is the magnificent Viru Bog, featuring a unique wooden boardwalk system that passes through peat fields and dark black water pools. This low-lying terrain compresses the landscape and isolates the scene from the modern world. Cutting through the wilderness are historic noble estates from the 18th century such as Palmsey and Sagati. These sturdy granite structures stand silently within expansive grounds, preserving the marks of a long and rich history. The presence of these ancient buildings reinforces the rugged and desolate character of this subarctic region. Along the coastline lies the historic fishing village of Altja, rich in the traditional culture of this remote coastal area. Strong winds from the Gulf of Finland sweep across the gray wooden houses, carrying salty moisture directly into the ancient pine forests. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of damp plant humus and the cold sea air, leaving a profound sense of awe deeply etched into memory. West of Saaremaa Island, in Estonian waters lies Vilsandi National Park, the oldest nature reserve in the Baltic region. This pristine location has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Biosphere Reserve, thanks to its exceptionally unique ecosystem. This marine geological formation opens into a stark and solitary realm of survival. a cluster of 150 small islands scattered among ancient fossilized coral reefs formed millions of years ago, creates a rugged, arc-shaped landscape. When the tide recedes, barren limestone terraces emerge, revealing unique walking routes across shallow waters that connect the islands. This mode of movement disrupts every conventional pattern of daily life. This destination is a wild sanctuary for more than 250 species of migratory birds and hosts the largest population of rare gray seals. Massive seal colonies are often seen resting on gray pebble beaches, undisturbed by the roaring waves surrounding them. Their presence revives the untamed atmosphere of a prehistoric era. Guarding the edge of the island stands the historic Vilsandi Lighthouse, a sturdy stone structure remaining motionless before powerful storms. Strong sea winds continuously sweep across the coral terraces, carrying salty moisture directly into the sparse coastal shrubs. The entire landscape is filled with the scent of marine minerals and decaying algae, leaving a profound sense of awe deeply etched into memory. The Nida Dunes are located on the Curonian Spit, forming a massive coastal sand barrier that separates the Curonian Lagoon from the Baltic Sea. This landscape features the 171-foot-high Parnidis Dune, one of the largest shifting sand dunes in Europe. Constant sea winds move the fine sand, creating a geological formation that changes shape with each season of the year. Throughout history, the movement of these dunes completely buried several ancient fishing villages beneath the sand. To prevent further destruction, local residents began large-scale reforestation projects in the 19th century. Deep-rooted mountain pines were planted across part of the area to stabilize the loose sand. The ecosystem is clearly divided between barren white dunes and gray dunes covered with moss. Salt-tolerant grasses grow along the slopes, providing resting places for migratory birds. It is also an ideal field site for researchers studying coastal erosion. A 45.3-foot-tall stone sundial stands atop Parnidis Dune to measure time by the sun's shadow. Visitors are required to remain on designated wooden walkways to protect the fragile sand formations from collapse. The site has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its unique combination of human activity and nature. Dead dunes, also known as the Grey Dunes, are one of the most impressive natural wonders within the Nagliai Nature Reserve on the Curonian Spit in Lithuania. This remarkable landform stretches along the shore of the Curonian Lagoon. The sand formations here are no longer highly mobile and are covered by sparse vegetation. The site is renowned for its desert-like landscape along the lagoon and for its mysterious history of burying several ancient villages beneath shifting sands. Between 1675 and 1902, powerful winds drove massive walls of sand inland. At least 4 historic fishing villages disappeared completely beneath the geological layers. The name Grey Dunes comes from the lichens, mosses, and drought-tolerant grasses that give the sand a muted gray color. This stable vegetation acts as a natural biological layer that protects the dunes from severe coastal wind erosion. The geological accumulation process has continued slowly for centuries. Today, the entire Nagliai Nature Reserve is strictly protected to preserve its fragile ecosystem. Visitors are allowed to walk only on a designated 0.7-mile wooden boardwalk for field observation. Leaving the marked trail is prohibited to prevent damage and collapse of this protected heritage landscape. Seaside Regional Park is a protected area located between the town of Palanga and the port city of Klaipėda in Lithuania. Established in 1992, it preserves a pristine coastal ecosystem and its characteristic sand dunes. The entire area stretches along the Baltic Sea coastline and plays an important role in protecting unique historical and cultural heritage. The park's most remarkable geological feature is the 78.7-foot-high Dutchman's Cap Cliff, a clay cliff continuously eroded by the sea. Powerful annual storms steadily wear away the cliff face, exposing ancient sediment layers and large cobblestones at its base. The coastal sand dunes are stabilized by stands of black pine. Historically, the park preserves a network of reinforced concrete military bunkers built during World War II. These fortified defensive structures are scattered along the shoreline and are now partially covered by sand and moss. They remain important field evidence of the region's turbulent military history. The coastal ecosystem provides an ideal habitat for migratory waterbirds and Baltic gray seals. Visitors can explore the area through a network of hiking and cycling trails that pass through pristine conifer forests. The protected area enforces strict conservation regulations to preserve its biodiversity.